so don't let us down. What are your questions?
Good afternoon, Jonah.
How are you?
Last night, your introduction to wXw was facing Volta.
That's right. Yeah.
How's the chest today, and what are you thinking of wXw so far?
The chest is a little better. It is very tenderized now, so hopefully I don't get too chopped the rest of the weekend. So first experience with wXw was great. The crowd, even in the inner circle at the JoJo show, was still very respectful and reactive to everything. Just taking showers hurt.
Hey Jonah, a couple of years ago you had the chance to become a part of the Mighty Don't Kneel.
That's right, yep.
In Pro Wrestling Noah as well.
Yep.
And I would like to know how your experiences were in the Noah dojo and on tour with Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yep, it was really good. I spent time over there from 2013 to 2015, so 3 years in a row. Yeah, I became a part of the Mighty Don't Kneel, and two of the members are now in WWE as Team 6-1. We actually have grown as well. There's about 7 members now. Pro Wrestling Noah is the dojo. It was hard work. We trained every single day. Also before the shows as well. I trained under Marufuji, who's well known. Himself and a wrestler called Taniguchi, Maybach Taniguchi, was also one of the coaches. So it was a great experience. Japan was always a goal of mine wrestling-wise. That's where I always wanted to go. That's sort of the style that I wrestle. So I look to hopefully go back there either this year or next year and continue doing that style.
Hi Jonah, what was it like to face Minoru Suzuki during New Japan's recent Australia tour?
Yeah, it was great. He hits almost as hard as Walter. I'm going to put it on record and say Walter hits harder than Minoru Suzuki. Whether I get beat up by Suzuki-gun for that, I don't know. But the New Japan tour in Australia was fantastic, lots of big crowds. And I got to face him in like a famous place of Australia in Melbourne. I'd wrestled him before in Noah, but never in a singles match. So it was good to have a big feature singles match with him. And yeah, much like my match with Walter, we just beat each other up. Thank you.
Hi Jonah, you're obviously one of the biggest stars in the Australian scene right now, which is really the burgeoning scene in the world currently.
True, yeah.
Could you tell us a little more about how the Aussie scene has grown to this point, and just let us know what it is about it that makes it must-see right now?
Yeah, I think the Australian scene has just been a little bit of the unknown, especially in the last 20 years. Australian wrestling's been going for 100 years, so there's always been wrestling in Australia. Started out in carnivals and then catch wrestling and then into pro wrestling like most places. It was really famous in the 60s and 70s because it was on TV, and then as soon as they lost the TV it sort of faded away. I think in the last 10 years though there's been a lot of upcoming talent that's gone all around the world from Australia, and from myself, people like Adam Brooks, the guys in Team 6-1, Buddy Murphy, who's also in WWE. From these guys branding out and being seen around the world, now the scene back home is getting seen a little bit more. I think it's only going to grow and grow and hopefully become bigger, especially now with social media and the internet. You can go into video demand services and see these things. So hopefully it just keeps growing.
So you've wrestled obviously in Australia, you've been to Japan, you've been to the US with PWG recently, and I think this is now your first tour covering the UK and Germany.
That's right.
So how would you compare those different places, and if you can say that already, and what are some of the things that you liked and disliked about the various locations?
Yeah. I think the UK and Germany especially, like the wrestling scene's really good. There's so many companies, so many promotions, so there's always a place for you to go and wrestle. At the moment, the fans in the UK as well are very appreciative, so it makes it even better to be able to go out there and get that sort of reaction from people that you've never wrestled in front of before. Again, I think that's because of the internet. I try to wrestle the same wherever I go. I guess the only thing I disliked about the UK and Germany so far is the weather. Apart from that, I've loved it. I love getting to see the UK and Germany. But yeah, back home it's nice and sunny every day.
You recently wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. for Progress, and obviously he was one of the people you wrestled in Noah during your time there. Do you feel that you've improved as a wrestler in that time, and also have you stayed in contact with Zack between the Noah tours and now?
Yeah, we definitely have kept in contact. So we lived together, I think, for 6 months in the dojo in bunk beds. So he was above me, I was on the bottom. So it's real easy to get to know someone when you live like that. I think the first time we wrestled was in Noah, and I think since then I've grown as a wrestler, and obviously so has Zack. He's world famous now, so it's been good to, as time has gone on, go against each other and change a little. So we've wrestled each other in Japan, US, Australia, and now UK as well. So we have to just do some more countries, I think.
Hi Jonah. So you mentioned earlier about yourself, Adam Brooks, kind of making the jump over. Many Australians and New Zealanders have kind of made the jump in recent years. So that's right. Fletcher, Davis as well, Banks as well. Who else do you think could make a huge impact from the Australian scene that you would love to make the jump over as well?
I think the one person that comes to mind is a wrestler called Damian Slater. Some of you guys might be familiar with his work in the Cruiserweight Classic. I think he's a great talent, and if he could come out, especially to the UK and Germany, people would love him. He's a great wrestler. He's wrestled in Japan as well, and he was recently on the New Japan tour with myself in Australia. I think him, another wrestler called Elliot Sexton, who at the moment is back in Australia, but he's been in the US for a little bit. Those are the two that I think could make a big impact worldwide.
Jonah, you already said what you disliked and liked about Europe, but what were some of your favorite experiences in Japan and some of your least favorite experiences in Japan?
Japan-wise, obviously the wrestling was fantastic. The training was very grueling. Lots of sit-ups, lots of push-ups, lots of running stairs, lots of squats. So that's always hard, but that gets easier. There wasn't much I disliked about Japan. I think it's a beautiful country. The people are very nice. Everyone's really nice. The food's great. So, I mean, apart from getting a lot of cardio in, it's I really liked it.
Are there some more questions? Come on, guys. Give it to us.
So you'll be facing Timothy Thatcher in the tournament, and also at Ambition tomorrow you'll be facing Mike Bailey, who we talked to earlier today.
Okay, yes.
So how did you prepare for those two matches, and how are you looking forward to wrestling those very different guys, style-wise?
I'm looking forward to the match tonight with Tim a lot. Obviously, he's another member of Ringkampf like Walter. I think I have a very similar mindset to them when it comes to wrestling. So you know, I like to get the job done. I like to hit hard. I know Timothy's the same way. Contrasting styles a little bit with Speedball. He's obviously a lot quicker. He throws a lot of kicks. So for Ambition, I do train in jiu-jitsu at home. So I'm going to try and use those jiu-jitsu skills to be able to combat his kicks and pretty much just hold him down. I don't think he can get away from me once I get my weight on him. So, yeah.
Okay, one more question. The last one.
Hi, Jonah. For the rest of 2018, do you have a clear, defined plan over where you want to be working and how long you want to be working there? Are you looking at being away from the Australian scene for sort of extended period of time? Or is it a case where you want to go out and be able to come back and then, obviously, with a greater name and a higher profile?
So at the moment, it's 2018, I'll probably continue to go out and venture around the world. I know I'll be in the States a little bit more time for PWG this year. I'm hoping I should be back in the UK summertime, so around August. But I do want to venture out, but also come back for the Australian scene. So I really want to try and push that to make that bigger as well. And I think if more stars keep leaving and staying in other places, that means other people have to start trying to come up. So if the stars that are there can try and help all those guys come up, it's only going to make the scene better. So a bit of both this year. I'm trying to do both.
All right. Thank you, Jonah. Thank you, guys. Good luck in tournament. I think it's going to be an amazing addition to the weekend, and we're looking forward to your matches. So, if you are familiar with the schedule I sent you, you know we are done, but we are not done because we have a special surprise, the King of Bros.